for life's source. Words. The way is beyond language, for in it there is no yesterday, no tomorrow, no today. And we bow. Please join us in remaining in noble silence until the beginning of service at 10 o'clock.
This time I'd like to invite our incense lighters forward. And if the rest of you would like to join in chanting the incense lighting gatha, it can be found on page 2 of the chant book. In gratitude, we offer this incense throughout space and time to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May it be fragrant as earth herself, reflecting careful efforts, wholehearted awareness, and the fruit of understanding slowly ripening. May we and all beings be companions of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. May we awaken from forgetfulness and realize our true home. Good morning. My name is Nasanskara. I'm a teacher intern here at the temple. Begin this morning with a few courtesy announcements. Doesn't look like I'd make this announcement about rearranging our seating if we find the need with families with small children and people who need to sit together, but it looks like we can work that out this morning. It's a beautiful summer day, and there's a little bit of space in here. So if you need to get up, stretch your legs, or use the restroom, there's restrooms through these curtains right here, also one downstairs. If you find the need to do so, please walk around the back side and not in between the seated people and the dais, out of respect for the folks that are seated and people who are viewing online at home. And if we'd like to stand now and greet each other silently with a bow. We can remain standing and turn our chant books to page 3. Oversight the 3 refuges. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, the means of healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the 3 jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to practice mindful breathing and smiling, looking deeply into things. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion, and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to offer joy to one person in the morning, and to help relieve grief of one person in the afternoon. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be free from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. We want to turn the page to page 4. We will chant the Heart Sutra together. From the deep practice of prajna, paramita, perceive the emptiness of all 5 skandhas
and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind. No realm of sight. No realm of consciousness. No ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance. No old age and death, nor extinction of them. No suffering, no cause of suffering. No cease from suffering. No path to lead out of suffering. No knowledge, no attainment, no realization. For there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but a prajna, paramita. Therefore the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance there is no fear. Away from all delusive views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas past, present, and future, through faith in prajna, paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna, paramita, is the great Dharani, the radiant fearless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna, paramita. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhisattva. Prajna, paramita, hridaya, sutra.
It's hard to pronounce those words, y'all. I'm gonna just gonna take these words. Not words. Not good. Speech. I have speech problems.
That's all right. Okay. As I had said, good morning. My name is Nasanskara. I'm a Dharma teacher intern here at the temple. And the first thing I'd like to do is for everyone to open their chant book to the rear, and you might find a loose leaf page in there. Hopefully you will. And I'd like to chant one more chant together. This is the Shosai Myo Kichijo Dharani. This is something that we chanted daily when I was recently, last month, on our trip to Nebraska Zen Center for their June Sesshin. We chanted this every day, and I liked it a lot. So I thought I'd bring it back and we'd give it a try here. It's traditionally done 7 times. I think we're going to go through it only 3 times. It's on the rear of your chant book. If you flip to the very back page, and it's the page in the rear. So if we go through it 3 times, and yes. We're just going to have a good time with it, is essentially what it is. This is, Dharani is a type of mantra or a chant that's used for its protective or spiritual power. Kind of back in the day, they were used as incantations or spells to ward off evil demons, to give protection or power to those who were chanting them. The word Dharani means to hold or maintain, and as such, they're also used as mnemonic devices to aid in memorization of a larger sutra or a group of sutras. The Dharani we're going to chant, this Shosai Myokichijo Dharani, is not a standard spoken language. These words that you see on the page before you, they're not Japanese, they're not Sanskrit, they're not Chinese. This Dharani originated in Sanskrit, was written down in Siddham script, which is the script they used to write Sanskrit, which was originally a spoken language, and then later pronounced using Japanese syllables, but not to convey a literal meaning, but to preserve the spiritual power of the sound. So it's really about the sound, in a form that Japanese speakers could chant. So this is what we have before us. All right, we're going to go through it 3 times. It may increase just a little bit as we go. Again, if you miss a step, you miss a syllable, the person next to you is going to have it. They're going to pick it up, and we're just going to do the best we can with it. This is what it's about. So, all right, it's the as I said, it's the Shosai Myokichijo Dharani, or translated as the marvelously beneficial disaster preventing Dharani. So I think, I thought we could all use this in our lives, right? All right. The Shosai Myokichijo Dharani. No mo san manda motonan oharachi koto sha sono nan toji to en gya ki un shifura hara shifura Chishusa, Chishuri, Sowaja, Senchi, Gya, Shirie, Somo, Ko, No, Mo, San, Manda, Motonan, Ohara, Chi, Koto, Sha, Sono, Nan, Toji, To, En, Gya, Ki, Un, Shifura, Hara, Shifura, Chishusa, Chishuri, Sowaja, Senchi, Gya, Shirie, Somoko, No, Mo, San, Manda, Motonan, Ohara, Chi, Koto, Sha, Sono, Nan, Toji, To, En, Gya, Ki, Nun Shifura, Shifura, Hara Shifura, Hara Shifura, Chishusa, Chishusa, Chishuri, Chishuri, Sowaja, Sowaja, Senchi, Ya, Shirie, Somoko. Wonderful. Thank you. Did y'all have a good time?
Yeah.
Good.
I didn't
Excellent.
understand what I was saying, but
That's all right. It's all about the sound. So that was wonderful. Thank you for that. We did that every day, as I said, in Nebraska. And that's kind of what I'm going to talk about today. Last month in June, my wife, Hausu, and I took a trip to Nebraska Zen Center for their summer sesshin. A Zen sesshin is an intensive meditation retreat. It can last a day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, typically spanning several days. The word sesshin translates as collecting the heart mind or gathering the heart mind. So as you sit in sort of intensive meditation, yes, you can. Yes, you can. As you sit in meditation, this is what we're doing. We're looking introspectively, or we're just being. Just being on the cushion is sort of this way to gather oneself, gathering the heart mind. It's silent retreat. So the 3 days we were there was spent in silence, and it was quite an experience. So as I said, their retreat was 3 days. It was 2 nights, and by Hausu and I's calculations, it consisted of around 10,000 hours of meditation. So I see y'all caught on with the math there. But that's what we came for, right? This is what we were doing there, to sit in meditation, or in Soto Zen, what they call Zazen. I've been reading this book, Realizing Genjo Koan by Shohaku Akumura. Different, smaller print, got to change the glasses. And so going into the retreat, I was reading this, and there's some passages that I thought that I would read that are relevant to what I'm going to talk about. Throughout our lives, from the time we are born until we die, we wear some kind of clothing. Clothing gives an indication of social class and occupation, and it may communicate cultural and religious background. Monks wear monks' robes, an emperor wears regal garments, farmers wear farm clothes, soldiers wear uniforms according to their rank. Rich people wear luxurious garments, poor people wear inexpensive clothes, Chinese people wear Chinese clothes, Japanese people wear Japanese clothes, and Americans dress like Americans. When we see people's clothing, we see who they are in society. We wear other kinds of clothing also. Social position and status are types of clothing that define us. We wear the clothing of poverty, wealth, or the middle class. We wear the clothing of occupations such as doctor, lawyer, mechanic, priest, student, teacher. When we sit facing the wall, though, we let go of thought, including comparing ourselves to others. We take off all this clothing. In Zazen, I am not a Japanese Buddhist priest. I am neither Japanese nor American. In Zazen, we are neither rich nor poor, neither Buddhist nor Christian. The terms Japanese, American, Buddhist, Christian, man, woman are only relevant when we compare ourselves to others. When I compare myself with Americans, I am Japanese. But before I knew of people who weren't Japanese, I didn't know that I was Japanese. When we just sit facing the wall in Zazen, we are neither deluded living beings nor enlightened Buddhists. We are neither alive nor dead. We are just as we are. That's it. In Zazen, we take off all of our clothing and we become the naked self. That book is Realizing Genjo Koan by Shohaku Akumura. I can write it down for you. I can.
it did make sense when they talked about before that. So it's about, that since you read that, I already know that stuff. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I imagine that you do. I imagine that we all do in some way. So good. When we arrived at Nebraska Zen Center, We got there early afternoon. We were met by the priest in training. If you all, those of you who were here and remember, Shinkyu was a teacher here. Shinkyu left and went to Nebraska Zen Center and became their priest in training and was there for 4 months doing that. So there's a young man there now. His name is Jikan. So we were met and greeted by him and shown to our rooms. As we suspected, although we were unsure, we had separate quarters, men's quarters, women's quarters. And it's all in silence, so we were kind of shown. Hao-Su and I, bid adieu to one another, as it were, at that time. And we went in and got put our things down and got comfy in our separate rooms. In Omaha, when we arrived, it was like 105 degrees. And we were thankful that they had some nice AC blasting in the monastery, and it was quite comfortable in there. Well, we came downstairs, and right away we went into the Zendo, what they would refer to as the Zendo, what we would refer to as the Dharma hall. And they were already, getting into Zazen. And so we were instructed, everything is kind of highly ritualized in a Soto Zen monastery. All your movements, everything that you do, it's a place to, as I heard the head priest later say, to rest your mind. This place to sort of set your mind so that you don't have to think about what you're doing, because you're always doing this thing that's right before you in this ritualized way. So we were instructed to enter the Zendo. You enter with your left foot, bow and gasho, turn to the left, follow around the room in a clockwise way. They're seated on cushions all along the perimeter of the room facing the wall, and you go around until you find yourself a cushion and have a seat. We did that. We had a seat, 35 minutes of Zazen. When we were done, marked by the end of the bell, we all stood up, and I thought to myself, all right, what's next? And people were kind of standing in front of their cushions, and I'm kind of like looking around. Okay, I'm ready. I'm going to stretch. I'm not sure what's next. And I did that for 20 or 30 full seconds, I think, until I realized what was next was actually what was happening. They were already doing it, and it's called kinhin, and it's walking meditation, but they do it so slowly that it was imperceptible to me. So it took me 20 or 30 seconds to realize, as I looked around, that people were standing in shashu, this mudra here, with their left thumb tucked inside their fist and their right hand covering it. And they were actually walking so slowly I could hardly see it. In some traditions, they say a half a step with each exhale of the breath. Well, I'm pretty sure they were going slower than that. So I gathered, this is what we're doing. And I started doing it along with. And, we went around the room like that for about 10 minutes. This was a break. And the bell rings, and you find your cushion, and it's back to Zazen. 35 minutes of Zazen. Bell rings, 10 minutes of Kinhin. Bell rings, 35 minutes of Zazen. So, we got right into it like that in the afternoon that we arrived. And we just sat and walked and sat and walked. And I was having quite a good time. It was a pretty nice experience, just being sort of immersed in that tradition and everything that they were doing. After 3 or 4 periods of that, we got ready for an evening service. In the beginning of the service, we do chanting. We do chanting like we just did here with the Shosai Myokichijo Dharani. Also some other things that are in English that we could understand. And it was during one of these chants that I had like my first really cool, I think, lesson. And that was, we were doing a chant in English. We were sitting on our cushion, I remember, facing the wall, and I was in Gaosho. Everybody was chanting. And I don't remember what it was that we were chanting, but I would say it like this. Imagine as if we were chanting the Heart Sutra, right? And we chant that as we just did all together. And we're chanting it together. And, for myself, this being a new chant, I was concentrating on, being with the people and being in sync and sort of, not like standing out in this way where I really wanted to, be in sync with everybody. And like in the Heart Sutra, if we all came to the end and, we got to the end of the sutra and it was Bodhisvaha, and then we stopped. And everybody ended except for one voice that I could hear over here that was just like, is the great Dharani, the radiant, peerless mantram, the utmost supreme mantram, just like, and I realized, I think my first thought was like, whoa, this is off. Like, he must be off. And then I realized that it was Daishin, the head priest. And I don't know if this was a intentional lesson. I don't kind of think so, although it was a wonderful lesson. It was that Daishin was he wasn't concentrating on being in sync with other people, right? He wasn't concentrating on any of that. He was just concentrating on the words right in front of him and just saying the words in front of him. And it didn't matter that we were all together and we all finished. He just continued to go through it. And then we all waited, and then he finished. And it was like a full stanza and a half of whatever we were chanting. And then we all finished, and then we all bowed. And I thought, what a wonderful lesson that was, So after that, we settled for the first evening's Dharma talk, which was given by Ji Khan, the head priest in training. And Ji Khan spoke about, he gave this talk that sort of laid the groundwork for the weekend and what we might put our minds to contemplating for the weekend. And he talked about the Buddha's enlightenment a little bit, but on two sides. One was, as the Buddha tried, as most of us may know, some of these austerities and some of these extreme practices of starving himself and things that didn't work out, and then came to this place where he was like, okay, that didn't work out. What is going to work out? The Buddha had this memory of when he was a small child, Siddhartha Gautama, sitting under a rose apple tree. In the Majjhima Nikaya, he recalls this. He says, I recall once when my father, the Sakyan, was working, and I was sitting under the cool shade of a rose apple tree. Then, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, I entered and dwelled in the first jhana. Might that be the path to enlightenment? And Ji Khan talked about this and this just ease, this contented ease that the Buddha recalled as he was a child under the rose apple tree when he went to sit under the Bodhi tree. And, trying to find this sort of contented ease. And he said, where's your place of ease, of calm, of clarity, of happiness? Where is your state of natural, effortless concentration? Where do you find that in your life? And then the other side of that is this place of suffering. And I don't mean physical pain, but the suffering caused by the reactivity of our mind, this extra layer of dissatisfaction that the mind creates. So now, many years later, the Buddha is sitting under the Bodhi tree on the verge of reaching enlightenment, and he begins to see this. He sees the mind interpreting and reacting to experience, notices the reactionary mind and how it causes him suffering. And this shows up in the form of Mara, as he's sitting under the Bodhi tree, as if we're familiar with the story. And Mara comes to visit the Buddha, this reactivity of the mind, this suffering brought on by greed and hatred and delusion. And what does the Buddha do when the reactivity of the mind comes to visit, when the suffering of the mind comes to visit? It's a really amazing thing. He doesn't try to push it away, to expunge it. He doesn't say, this is something I have to get rid of because this is something wrong with my mind. He simply says, I see you. I see you, Mara. I see you, reactive mind. I see you suffering, right? I see you. And so Ji Khan said, where in our lives do we see Mara present? Where does our reactive mind cause us suffering? And so that was the first talk. After that, I think we broke for some, to get ready for dinner. The meals were all oryoki style. If any of you are familiar with that or have seen this, it's this beautiful, ritualized, choreographed, meditative way of eating. And that's really what it's designed for, is this meditation and eating. So we sit at a long table, all of us on this side, someone across from me, all of them on that side. So all of us are across from each other. And we're handed a oryoki set, which is a set of 3 nesting bowls wrapped in some cloths with some utensils on it, a spoon and some chopsticks and things like that. We handed them, and the food is set on the end of the table. We do some chanting, and when it's time to eat, we start to unwrap our set. Now, I have no idea what I'm doing, right? I've never eaten oryoki style before. I don't know. And so I'm just watching the person across from me. And the person across from me, I can tell you, over the weekend, I came to have so much gratitude for this person, because they also, even though it was all silent, knew I had no idea what I was doing. And so they would be like really, you know, I was like, and I'm like following along, and then I'm looking, and then I'd go like this, and they'd be like, you know, and it was wonderful. It was this wonderful thing of, you know, and you do that a couple of times, and then you start to figure it out, and pretty soon you know what you're doing. But it's all in this way, from the way that you unnest the bowls, the way that you hold them with these fingers in a specific way that you set them. You set your utensils with one on this bowl facing out and the chopsticks here, and it's just like, it's just really amazing, kind of wonderful dance, and it's beautiful. The food comes down, we're handed it. We at first lift up our bowls and bow, and then I get the big bowl of food, and I serve him. And there's a hand signal when you've had enough, and then we set it down, and we bow, and we switch, and then I pick up my bowl, and he serves me, and then we pass it on down, and we do that for each until all 3 of our bowls are filled, and then we eat those. And then there's a certain thing again we do when everybody is finished, and we can have some seconds, and then it comes time to clean our bowls at the end of the meal. That's all done at the table. Also, there's a pitcher of hot water. You pour a little bit, and you have a little, like a plastic batter spatula you use to like make brownies or whatever that you would lick. There's one about this big, and you clean out your bowl and with the hot water, and then you pour it into the other bowl, and then you wipe everything down, and then you just do that and pour the water. And then at the end, some folks would just drink the water because there's no waste at all. And if you have more than that left over, more than enough that you wish to do that, then there's a tray that comes along, and you can pour your water in it. You wipe down all the bowls. They're all nested back in. They're wrapped up in this very specific way. And, you know, we all, again, bow, and they're handed off and set back on the shelf. So it was a wonderful experience. We went back to Zazen, Kinhin, Zazen, Kinhin, till 9 o'clock at night. By that time, we're exhausted. We're ready for bed. We go off to our rooms, and that's it. Day 2 starts. They go through the hallway ringing a bell. Ding, 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 ding. You can hear it 5 a.m. Everybody's up. You get up. You have 30 minutes to brush your teeth, get dressed, have a little tea if you'd like, and then be in the Zendo for Zazen at 5:30. Left foot in, bow, clockwise around, find your cushion. Zazen 35 minutes, 10 minutes Kinhin. Zazen 35 minutes, 10 minutes Kinhin. Zazen 35 minutes, 10 minutes Kinhin. Then we're getting ready for breakfast. As we were about to get ready for breakfast, right? I mean, so by my count now, we were into about 4,000 or 5,000 hours of meditation. I'm off to use the restroom. I find standing in front of the restroom waiting is my beautiful wife, Hausu. We have, we see each other a little bit, and we kind of, give each other the wink and stuff as we're going around. But we find ourselves in front of the restroom, and I'm still, it's a lot of meditation, but I'm still fairly excited. I'm really enjoying myself. I'm enjoying the oryoki. It's all new, and everything. And I know that she's, enjoying herself too. But we find ourselves in front of the restroom, and I kind of saddled up next to her, and I said, in enthusiasm and in encouragement, monastery life's the life for me. And she looks at me and she says, after breakfast, I'm going home. So we had a pretty good laugh about that. We had breakfast. It was again oryoki style. Back to Zazen Kinhin. I'm starting now to get fairly sore. My back is like, it's a lot on your back. I'm getting sore. I'm like, this is a lot of meditation. I'm digging it, but I'm like, it's kind of a lot. So I'm looking forward. I know there's a work period coming up, and I'm like, I can't wait to sweep the floor or clean the windows. I can't wait to do something, other than this or whatever. And so that time comes. We have work period. We have lunch. We go back to sitting, afternoon. And so it's Zazen Kinhin late afternoon, I think, on the second day. And I'm sitting and I'm trying not to, to think, trying to just be in my, just as I am. I'm not thinking. And then I'm trying to not think. All right. And I don't know if you've ever tried to not think before, but it can tie your mind up a little bit. Like, oh, stop thinking, stopping thinking, and Dogen calls this to think, not thinking, which is something I've, ironically enough, thought about quite a bit. Think, not thinking. Again, there's a small section here that came to mind as I was writing this. We have many different experiences during the course of our lives, and in the process, excuse me, this is going to be better. And in the process of experiencing these billions of things, we create a self-image. We come to consider ourselves as capable or incapable, superior or inferior, rich or poor, honest or dishonest. We define ourselves in this way and hold on to the ideas of who we are. We create the karmic self. But when we sit in Zazen, we let go of all these self-images. When we open the hand of thought, these concepts drop off and the body and mind are released from karmic binding. Yeah, that's what I mean too. And those words were in my head as I was sitting in Zazen, all of this time, and coming into late on the second day, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking about just being and dropping off my body and mind and sitting and, I'm going to sit here and drop off the body and mind. Well, how's my posture? Wait a minute. How's my posture? My back kind of hurts. Why does my eyebrow itch so bad? My eyebrow itches so bad. I'm like, should I scratch it? Should I scratch it? I'm not sure. Oh, think about just being just as I am. Okay, I'm just as I am. Well, I kind of have to pee. And I'm not real sure. Wait, am I supposed to walk clockwise around the room when I go? Or should I just walk like straight for the door? I'm not sure. And I began to be concerned about how to leave the room, I'm not sure how I should do it. Lost my last page. Give me 1 second. There she is. I'm thinking I'm dropping off my body and mind, right? And I'm sitting on the cushion, right? When I get to the door, do I bow when I leave? I haven't seen people bowing when they leave from here. And do I turn toward the Buddha and bow, or should I bow with my back to the Buddha? I don't think that's right. Wait, now I'm thinking about the Dharma talk, about Jikan. I'm thinking about the rose apple tree. Where do I find the ease in my life? Where do I find the ease? Where do I find my rose apple tree? Where does Mara manifest in my life? Wait a minute, have I been doing this wrong the whole time? I'm like, I know I'm not supposed to bow with my back to the Buddha. I'm not really sure. I bow when I turn? Am I not supposed to be wearing socks? Everybody around me is barefoot and I'm wearing socks. I'm not really sure. Most of the people here are barefoot and I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. Like, I'm not really concerned. And then all of a sudden, just like, it may be apparent to y'all, but it was really for me like bricks that just bow. And I was like, I see you, Mara. Boom, I see you. I see you manifesting in my mind as doubt and fear. I see you, Mara, feeding the delusion to me of a fixed self, a self that isn't doing it right, a self that should be doing this differently, should be doing that differently, that isn't good enough, a self that's doing it all wrong, telling me that that's who I am, this fixed thing, a thing that's wrong. And I see you using this fixed thing, this delusion of a fixed self, to separate me from the whole. All of a sudden, it's me, and I'm uniquely wrong. And it just all hit me all at once. And I said, I'm in my mind, I just went, I see you, Mara. And I can tell you, and it might have been the 10,000 hours of meditation, and I'm not real sure, but it was a moment for me. Like the wall I was looking at, and it sounds weird, it kind of like it took this curve as I felt like my peripheral vision kind of expanded, and I could hear the leaves on the trees outside, and I could hear the sound of the room and the AC, and I had this whole clarity that was like bright, and everything got like, whoa, and I was like, wow. And I felt really at one with everything. All of a sudden, I wasn't separate. I saw the separation, and it ended just like that, and I just felt at one with everything. And it created this wonderful feeling. And when I got the feeling, I went, that's it. I love that feeling. And as soon as I had that, it was gone. It was, and I went, oh, no, wait. And the realization that I had stayed with me, this realization of not being separate and not being not good enough. I carried that realization with me. The feeling was elusive, but it was pretty nice, for those few seconds when I was like, this ease of, being one with everything. And it was pretty awesome. But I knew then, I had this realization that I had nothing to attain. I was fine just the way I was. Like, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just sitting. And as I was just sitting with all the people and with the tree outside and with all of the world, I was just one with all of them. And it was pretty awesome. So awesome that it felt that way. It felt, it was so awesome. I'm going back in next month in August. So I'll let you know. And then I wanted to conclude with this reading. I'm a Buddhist priest, and I'm also my wife's husband and my child's father. What I am with my family, I am a father. When I am with my family, I am a father. So I play the role of a father. When I give a lecture, I'm a teacher. So I do my best to talk about Dogen Zenji's teachings in an understandable way, though I don't know if I succeed. These roles are like clothing that I put on in different situations, and I define who I am according to the role I'm doing my best to fulfill at that time. But when I sit facing the wall, I am neither a father nor a Buddhist priest. At that time, I am nothing. I am empty. I am just who I am. So that was my experience there. And it was pretty awesome. So as I say, I'm going back in August. But thank you all for listening to the story. At this time, we will sit, I think, for a few moments and be who we are. All right? We'll sit in some meditation. right. At this time, we're going to have a few moments for joys and concerns. Joys and concerns, we'll have a microphone that we can pass around. If you'd like to share a joy or a concern, raise your hand and someone will run the mic to you.
Just thank God that they didn't have to I was in the hospital a couple weeks ago for MRSA, and I thank God my leg got healed because they wanted to cut my leg off. So I thank God for that.
Wonderful.
Morning, Sangha. I have a friend in Colorado. I visited him earlier this year, and he is actually coming up to Michigan. He's driving so he can bring his dog. And he struggled with a lot of addictions, but he's 30 days sober from alcohol. We talked yesterday, and he said something like, and I'd look to you and your brother to see that it's possible. And so I'm just really grateful that that he said that and that he's doing well.
Hello, Sangha. I've always wanted to attend like a days long meditation retreat. And in hearing your experience, I was thinking to myself, do I really want to attend a days long meditation retreat? I've been meditating almost every day for about 8 months now. And even doing like a 20 to 30 minute session can be a little difficult sometimes. But, you know, gradually in trying to establish this as a practice, even if I don't want to, even if at the end of it, I'm like, well, what did I even do that for? It's getting to the point where no matter how it goes, I never regret it. You know, I sit down, I try to not think, right? And then it's over and I get up and I'm like, you know, I just feel better regardless. I just feel a little bit more like myself, I guess I would say. You know, even though meditation is like the big thing to do in Buddhism, you know, it's something that, and even members of the temple have helped me out with. It's something that I've gradually come to like let the purpose of it sink in, which isn't any specific, you know, like, yeah, you can meditate for many reasons, to calm down, to understand oneself more, to just, you know, be more aware. And those are all great reasons. But I think that it's sort of like, and Zen does say this a lot, but it's not something you can really put into words or establish like a set, like, you know, question and answer for why we do meditation. It's just something that I know has helped me in my life thus far. And even if it's something that I still need to keep practicing and I still, you know, will continue understanding its purpose, I'm just very glad to be able to sit down and not need to worry about something, not need to think about something specific like I do my entire day. Just sit down and try to be myself as I really am, I guess I could say. So I'm just very thankful for that. That's all.
I would say quickly, a couple of things came to mind. One, that we here at the temple have really wonderful single day retreats, probably 3 times a year at this point. And so watch for the next one of those upcoming. There is a lot of, there's some things that are interspersed in there, like a guided meditation, and then walking, and then some cleaning, and then lunch, and then sitting, and then lojong, maybe to kind of loosen it up a little bit, maybe I would say. And so that can be kind of nice. And then the other thing that came to mind is just all of us remember that we're not uniquely different in the way that it might be a struggle for us. I heard when I was at Nebraska Zen Center, one of the folks there talking about Dainin Katagiri, something that he had said in one of the first like sashins that they had back in 1978 or whatever it was, that at the temple, where Katagiri was like, this is a lot of sitting, right? Like so even he is like, it's hard, it's difficult to do, and so none of us are uniquely different in the way that like it's just hard for me, everybody else seems to get it, it's a difficult thing for all of us. And so, but we can lean into that and, and do it together, be together with it. And so I also recently heard last week, Mingyur Rinpoche gave this little talk about people come to me all the time and say, meditation is wonderful. It's helped me so much in my life and it will help you. And it's really a great thing. But they don't meditate. Like I'm at home, I'm like, I don't actually meditate anymore. I don't really, have time for it or whatever. And he said, that is normal. It's normal for people to go up and down, to meditate and then to fall off of it. And maybe I'm not doing it right now the way that I think that I should be doing it or something like that. And just know that, again, none of us are uniquely different, right? It's normal for us to do those things. And so the point is, or the purpose would be, to always come back to the practice when you can, to just continue to practice.
So, hello, Sangha. Recently, I quit nicotine, and I just wanted to say that the story about the Buddha seeing Mara really resonated with me, because it was only when I was in meditation during withdrawal that I really understood what the reactive mind does. In that moment, I really saw suffering and where it was coming from, and I'm just glad to be over with that part of it. So, thank you.
Anything from online? All right. I think we'll take a moment to hold those joys and concerns in our heart. All right. A few temple-related announcements. Kind of have a mess going on up here, so let's see if I can find them. Our online meditation group meets Wednesdays from 6 to 6:45. You can join via Zoom or contact Upaya or see the newsletter for more information. Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple Board meeting is today. So we'll have a shortened social hour downstairs. It begins at 11:30 downstairs, the board meeting. Sangha members are welcome to observe. We have an introduction to meditation from the Tibetan perspective on Saturday, August 9th. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to noon here at the temple. It's an intro to meditation from the Tibetan perspective, offering practical techniques for cultivating mindness and breath awareness, and a comprehensive exploration of foundational meditation practices. This class is also recommended as a prerequisite to all other classes. So one of the things is we're going to have an upcoming precepts class, which is a wonderful way to deepen one's practice. And if you're interested in the precepts class, it'd be good to have a intro to meditation class as a prerequisite for that. It is, yeah, it is. If you'd like to have information on any of these things, you can come see me and I'll give you all the information for sure. That's fine. All you got to do is ask questions, and that's how you learn. We have Buddhist-based recovery meetings Mondays, 6:30 for meditation and 7 p.m. for the meeting. That's here at the temple. Wednesdays, 6:30 at the Alano Club. I never know how to pronounce that. At 1020 College Avenue Northeast, and Fridays at 10:05 for meditation and 10:30 meeting here at the temple or at Zoom. All the events can be found at our website, zengr.org. You can sign up for the newsletter, which if anybody hasn't done, go and do it because the newsletter is awesome. So, with that, we'll stand for our closing gathas. Find our closing gathas on page 6. Together we say, for all unskillful actions ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginnings, greed, and anger, and ignorance, born in my body now found costs, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, the formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddhist teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless flying passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to enter. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. We would turn this side of the room and face this way. This side of the room face this way. All give each other a close bow. This is great. Great. Thank you all. I got it.